inflammation. Alright, now this is an immune response. Okay, now there is an immunity that you learn, and there's an immunity that you do every day. You guys remember this? So they say immunity means you're going to be, this disease won't be able to get you because you're immune. And sometimes you're just immune because of a daily process you do no matter what. This includes building new skin, making things like acidic stomach areas, that acidic content prevents disease. This is one of those cases. So this is just not a specific, but a non-specific immunity. Your body will react with inflammation anytime there is tissue damage. It's going to occur every time. So if you have tissue damage, will your body go into a state of inflammation?
Yes.
Okay, under normal circumstances, it does. So tissue damage equals inflammation. All right, so it's going to do this. All right. So it is the result of tissue damage. It doesn't matter what damaged the tissue. It could have been a bacteria, or it could have been somebody's boot when they kicked you, really hard. I've had that boot get me before. It hurts. So the tissue damage can be from many things. Your body is just going to go into a standard reaction. Now, the signs. The signs of inflammation go down like this. There's an old Latin way of saying it. Rubor, tuber, collar, dollar. You guys ever hear that one? Okay. Rubor, tuber, collar, dollar. All right. Rubor, tuber, collar, dollar. So these are the 4 hallmark signs. Now, we commonly call rubor red. Tuber is reference to swollen, like a potato in the ground. That's a tuber. That's the swelling of the roots. I'm not sure if you've ever heard the word tuber before, but it just means a swollen part. Calor is reference to caloric, which is hot. Okay, calories are a unit measurement of energy and heat. So hot. And dolor is a reference to pain. So the word dolor means pain. Red hot, painful, and swollen. Okay. So when we see this, we go, okay, I see inflammation. That means there's been tissue damage. Now, it's our responsibility to think about that. What is doing the damage? Was it something mechanical, or was it something infectious? Was this inflammation got started because of, like they're exposed to a bacteria that is now damaging their body, underneath the skin? Or is it an allergic reaction? We have to ask those questions. Why does it get red? Why does it get swollen? Why is it hot? Why is it painful? So we have to ask, why does it do these things? And I know the answers. I'm going to teach these to you, and then you'll know the answers. So, it has to do with the old blood capillary. You guys remember this capillary? That's the arterial side of the capillary. And then this is the venial side of the capillary. So this is our blood flow. The tissue cells are out here. We have a different kind of capillary that's in the majority of our body. It's this green capillary. You guys remember this one?
Okay.
It's a lymphatic capillary. Now remember, once you go through the lymphatic capillary, you get to this thing they call the lymph node. And the idea, the lymph node is where your body is stored up like an arsenal of white blood cells. Especially lymphocytes and macrophages. It's just loaded with them. They're there waiting. So here's the normal process. On this end of the capillary, we're going to have fluids leave. Okay, that's due to hydrostatic pressure that pushes it out. And then we're going to see a return flow where it comes back in. And what draws it back in, the liquids. This is osmotic pressure. And I'm going to put down something here that you should recognize. Albumin. Okay. So this is a very simple idea. This is a tissue cell. All of these are. We need to drop off some groceries here and then take out the trash. So we're going to use hydrostatic pressure to drop everything off. And then we're going to take out this liquid back to the blood vessel with albumin and osmotic. So a real simple example. I push out a liter on this side. How much should come out? A liter. Now that's balanced. Okay, that's the way it normally goes. So basically the same amount that you're pushing out is returning. All right, now this is normal capillary function. And now I'm going to damage some tissue. Are you ready? All right, now this is the way it normally works, right? Now, if you get tissue damage, what just happened to those cells? Yeah, they burst. They busted open. Now, all of the contents from these cells, okay, is dumping out. Didn't used to be there, but now it is. All this stuff that's coming out, it's going to compete with the albumin. So the fluid will keep coming out because the heart's still pumping, right? Keeps pushing out. But now we have lots and lots of solute. It's out here. So now the fluid comes out. Does it go back in?
Into the cell? No.
No, well, the cells have burst.
Okay.
Okay, so they've ruptured. Yeah, there's really no compartment anymore. They've ruptured.
No, listen to the lymph system.
This solute here is going to attract the water to it. So when this fluid comes out, instead of going back in to the albumin, it's going to stay here. Right? Now, if I keep adding liquid to this, will this compartment fill up, and then fill up some more? Okay. What do you call this compartment out here in between the cells? The interstitial compartment, where the interstitial fluid is. Okay. So if you damage the cells, that compartment starts filling up. Okay? Which one of these have we just explained? The swollen. Okay. When that compartment fills up, it's swollen. So that we got that figured out. That's due to an osmotic pressure change. All right. So if you do tissue damage, now you have an osmotic. We're gonna have increased interstitial fluid. So that fills up. That means, okay, we are swollen. There's something else. The solute will come in contact with a cell. We're just going to go like this. What's that look like?
Bone.
A dinghy? A
Cell.
boat. Okay, boat. Now, this part of the boat, they call that the mast. That's the big pole in the center. This is to help you remember, that's a mast cell. Okay. Now, when the solute interacts with the mast cell, it will dump out two things, histamine and heparin. Okay. That histamine is going to make the blood vessels around here dilate. Histamine's a dilator. Okay? It's a dilator. So, this histamine explains the red. When blood vessels vasodilate, the area appears red. Now, if you have increased blood flow, blood will carry the body heat to that area. So what will it also bring? The temperature up in that area. That's why it gets hot. There's one other thing. You have this solute will also go over here and irritate these. You know what these are? These are free nerve endings. You know what really irritates them? The contents of the cell. So these nerve endings are being irritated by all of that debris that just came out of the cells. When that happens, they start transmitting signals that are interpreted to you as pain. Okay? So if I go down the list here, just run down the list. What is the cause of it being red? Histamine. Why does it get swollen? This osmotic change. Okay, that's why it swells. Why does it get hot? That's also the histamine. And then why is it painful? Well, the solute here irritates the free nerve endings. So if you bust open the cells, you're always going to get the same response. It gets red, hot, painful, and swollen every time. There's a goal to this. Why do we make it hurt?
You know, there's an injury problem.
Yeah, so that's the whole point. You just trashed your ankle, so your body sends so many pain signals and says, hey, you trashed your ankle, ding dong. You can't use that anymore right now. So it's going to hurt so bad you can't use it. Okay, that's an inborn thing. You know what I mean? You ripped all the muscles in your thigh. It hurts so bad you can't use it anymore. Do you understand why your body shuts that off? Okay. Why this red and hot? Why are we going to flood this area of blood? What are we trying to do there? what's gonna be flooded into this area with the blood?
White blood cell.
White blood cells, okay? Now, that's just in case that was like a bacteria or something infectious doing this. We're gonna flood the area with red and white blood cells. And then the swollen part, why do we fill this compartment up? How is that gonna give us immunity? How's it gonna protect us? If this compartment fills up,
That has to do with pressure.
okay, now the reason is the pressure, but what's the advantage of filling up this area and not allowing, this is key, not allowing the liquid to go back to the
You're
bloodstream?
trying to go through the lymph system to be clean.
Yeah, see, that's just it. We don't know if that was a bacteria that busted the cells. So if it was, and we push the bacteria to the bloodstream, how long before it's everywhere? You're septic, okay? In a minute, it's everywhere. So anywhere you get tissue damage, you go through inflammation. The end goal is to push everything into here. It goes in dirty, and then it comes out purified. That's how inflammation provides immunity. Now, what do we give people all the time when we see they're really swollen and inflamed, like after surgery? Yeah. We give them things to stop the process. Now, why is that risky? Like steroids, right? You can't just give steroids all the time. Isn't it risky? You've been taught a little bit about that. If you give them too many steroids, what happens? You suppress their immune system and you set them up for a secondary infection.
So it's a protective mechanism to go through the process.
Yeah, inflammation's a protective thing. Now, here's the thing. Okay, if we know that you're inflamed because we've been cutting on your tissue, right? All right. The surgery, we had to do that, so we know it's going to inflame. Why do we know it's going to inflame? Anytime you cut, what happens to cells? Yeah, they get damaged. So we know it's going to inflame, all right? And all of that swelling and whatnot can actually prolong your healing time. So what we're going to do is we're going to give you a steroid to suppress that, all right? So you don't swell up as bad or get as inflamed. It's going to mean more time before you regulate and come back to normal. Why would they encourage that? Like say they're in a facility. Come on.
Money.
It's all about money.
Yeah, like we can get them out of here faster, right? We can get you to the point where it's not as painful in a few days. Okay, but do you understand there's a risk to it? Like,
Well, yeah, they wanna send you home so you get the infection at home and have to come back.
Doesn't count,
It doesn't
No.
count against the hospital.
Well,
it's not within
yeah,
24
I
hours.
mean, you know, but you
Money
understand,
thing.
yeah,
We've been drilled on the.
but you just gotta understand.
That secondary infection here.
Yeah, that's a different kind of game. But you understand, okay, we know they're gonna swell up. If we can keep that down, there'll actually be less
Tissue damage.
pain. Okay, like the tissue damage is what we did to them. Just for instance, we're gonna yank your wisdom teeth out. Okay, we gotta rip that part of your body out.
Really, I'm already nauseated.
So we know we're gonna do damage. So, and we know it's gonna be extremely painful. But I can give you this steroid and keep that inflammation suppressed so that it isn't as excruciating. But what's the trade-off? It could increase the risk of an actual infection. Because if I slow this down, we're not going to be washing it through here as fast. So the likelihood of it going into the blood actually increases. So it's a trade-off. And that's why you have to understand, when you do have the patients that get the steroids, you know, it's a regimen. It's supposed to be short duration, all right? And sometimes they give them the steroids, sometimes say, no, we're not. And you have to understand, they're making a decision based on their overall immune system, right? If they have a terrible immune system, am I gonna be likely to give them steroid and suppress it further? No. But if you have somebody who's really kind of healthy, got a good immune system, I could probably give them the steroid, suppress it, and they're gonna be okay and actually have less pain and have a faster recovery. So it's a trade-off. So that's inflammation. That was one chapter. Okay.
All right, all on
We
one
drew both.
page.
Yeah, let's see.
I know.